my band Omnigon has a new split 7-inch. It's with a band called Protagonist from Florida. The vinyl's two-color, a vibrant lime green and aqua blue. 4 labels teamed up to put out this split. Sell the Heart Records, which is Andy from Tsunami Bomb's label, Lava Socks Records, Alex from Sarcasm's label, No Time Records, Tommy from Corrupt Vision's label, and Disconnect, an awesome label from the UK. Every label has their own color cover, red, yellow, purple, black, and white, and the red one's already sold out. So go do me a solid, pick up a copy, you'll get a digital download of an extra track that didn't make it onto the vinyl. Go visit Lava Socks or No Time Records if you're in the States, Disconnect if you're in the UK, and pick up some other music while you're there. You won't be sorry. Do something nice for yourself. You definitely deserve it. Okay, that's enough of me talking. Let's start the show.
In the mid-90s, Mike Park was writing way too many songs for Skankin Pickle. The band could only release so many. Besides, they were an ensemble group and other members brought music to the table as well. So he took a bunch of his extra tunes, got Less Than Jake to back him, and in 1995 released an album as The Bruce Lee Band. There was a second Bruce Lee Band record in 2005, this time with members of the RX Bandits. But in 2014, Bruce Lee Band returned, now an official group with Jeff Rosenstock and Kevin Higuchi. After 2014's Everything Will Be Alright, My Friend, Dan Potthast joined the group. This has been the consistent 4 members ever since. They released the incredible Division in the Heartland EP last year, and will release One Step Forward, Two Steps Back on May 27, 2022. Today we sit down with Mike Park and Jeff Rosenstock to talk about this ongoing project and also the different ways their paths have intersected over the years.
Okay, Aaron, before we start this episode, I'm going to need you to rank these 3 bands.
All right.
Skankin Pickle, Chinkies, Bruce Lee Band. Go.
Okay, so the Chinkies record output in the late 90s, maybe the top. However, the Bruce Lee Band recording output from 2014 to present, I don't know. They're pretty close right there. The Chinky stuff from the 90s is better than the Bruce Lee Band stuff, and it's definitely better than the Skankin Pickle recordings. The Skankin Pickle recordings are at the bottom, but as a live band, Skankin Pickle was crazy. They were so good.
Well, we're going to need a whole chart for what you just did there. Do you know what my favorite one of Mike's bands is that never gets any recognition?
What?
A Hero. The A Hero 7-inch. And honestly, there's a song on the new Bruce Lee Band album that's the one he sings in Korean.
Yeah.
That's like the closest to the A Hero. It's not as aggressive at all, but it's the most aggro I've heard Mike sing in a long time.
I might actually put the Bruce Lee Band stuff at the top. Just the stuff that's with this current band, which is Mike, Jeff, Kevin, and Dan, although Dan didn't play on the first one. That's a solid band, and I feel like they're getting better. Like, this new record is really good.
Oh, definitely. And since we didn't talk about it very much in the actual interview, just really quick, the new album, the thing that I was the most taken with is I really feel like Mike pushed himself vocally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like to try things that were maybe a little bit outside of his comfort zone. And I think it really paid off.
Definitely.
There's also a really sweet song that's aimed at his wife.
What's it called?
I'm going to let the listener figure that one out. But I thought it was really sweet. There's some nice little nods to their history in the lyrics of that song.
Last time we had Mike on the show, we did briefly discuss the Mike Jeff origin story. I want to hear a little bit more about that. So Jeff, Arrogant Sons of Bitches was touring, and you read Mike's website, his blog about them showing up at the Oakland A's parking lot?
Yes, his newsletter.
Yeah, newsletter. Yeah.
Yes.
And you didn't know Mike at all, but you wanted to show up and play a show.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to, I think we just wanted to get somewhere. I mean, like, so if you're, or I don't know, I feel like if you're from the East Coast and you were like a ska kid or a punk kid, Asian Man Records was pretty legendary. And, your scene was happening on the other side of the country. So like to me, like that this super important label that I loved was like, oh yeah, and we're all just chilling at the fucking A's game, having a barbecue. I was like, oh my God, like we had I'm trying, like I can't remember the details all that correctly, probably, but like I believe we had a day off on tour, or that might have been the tour where like we were supposed to have our label book us our tour back and they didn't book us back. It kind of blurs together a little bit, but like we had a generator. I think it was a tour that our label didn't book us back. So like we'd gotten out to the West Coast and and if I'm remembering correctly, we had no shows going back home. We thought we were going to have shows going back home. And I was like, well, we could go to an A's game for free and go to a barbecue. And we have this generator and we could maybe play in the parking lot. I could email Mike. He seems like a cool punk dude that would be down with that and not just say no to a stranger in need and then later steal the idea as his own. But I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong as fuck.
I mean, that's pretty much what happened. I don't know if I got an email prior. I thought you just showed up.
There's no way I emailed. How would I have emailed you? I guess you probably just had your fucking email on the website, knowing you now.
I think you just showed up, and
that's not why.
Well, everyone was welcome. I invited anybody. I told people we'll be here in this section of the parking lot. So they showed up and they asked to play, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't in the right mind frame. So I was just wanting to barbecue and hang out.
Which sounds like you, which is also, that's fucking totally fair too. It's just funny now because now we've known each other a long time, Like we could have never met after that, and that would just be a thing, Yeah,
totally. But I know you did pull out the generator and at least played music. I know we were blasting Operation Ivy. I do remember that.
Yeah, we were probably just playing it from our van. I don't think we brought out the generator.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't the generator guy in our band.
So let's talk about the generator for a second.
Yeah, who was the generator guy?
It would have been JT and Dave. One of them will kill me because I feel like one of them was running the generator the whole time. One of them figured it out the whole time.
Whichever one of them hears this first and tweets that they're the generator person, they get to claim it.
Yeah.
So you brought a generator into because you were playing, you were crashing or sneaking into Warped Tour. Is that why you had a generator?
Yes, the Vans Warped Tour. Yes. Although we might have just had a generator. I don't know. We had like a fucking my memory is too fuzzy to get it right, but like there is a chance that we were just like a band and we're like, yeah, man, let's bring a generator. Bet that'll come in handy. Like somebody had one, so we brought it.
I mean, I haven't toured a lot in my days, but I just can recall putting stuff in the van, and every inch of that van, like everything had to really matter to be put in that van because there was not a lot of space. So
yes, the joys of having a trailer. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mike, you adopted this idea like a year later.
Maybe it was a year later. It kind of hit me that this would be kind of a cool idea. So maybe it was like the 12th. I know we did one for like the 12th year anniversary.
Did you invite us back?
No, I just I don't think I remember. I wouldn't have remembered you if it was that one-off meeting.
Yeah, probably not.
And I just stole the idea. So I know the Lawrence Arms came out and we did a show at Bottom of the Hill, and the next day we did the parking lot, and we had a ton of bands play. It was awesome.
Mike, did we even fucking give you a CD?
I can't remember if you did.
I don't feel like we did.
A lot of bands give me their CD, and then I very graciously say thank you, and I give them a smile, and then I throw it away.
Even in a situation like that, when a band from across the country brings a generator to a parking lot and was like, let's play, you wouldn't give it a spin?
I would probably no. I'd probably give it to someone. I wouldn't throw it away, but I'd give it to someone. I'm like, hey, you want this?
It was Ska in 2003. Would you have been interested or no?
No.
You fucking fool.
I mean, I remember there was always a huge box at Asia Man that was just full of demos and CDs that you'd get, and you'd just be like, yeah, help yourself.
Amazing. That's like the things we would dream about on the East Coast, to be in the Asian Man Records demo box.
Did you ever take, Adam, did you ever take any of the demos?
I did. There was a demo there once of a band I didn't like, and I threw it in the trash before Mike could see it. Just to make sure that Mike didn't go, oh, this is cool.
Has that band remained a band, and did they do anything?
No, they were some crappy band from Sacramento.
You got them.
Got them.
So, Mike, on our episode, because I re-listened to it, and you said that the first time you remember after that meeting Jeff was you played an acoustic show in Long Island.
Yes.
Okay, and you said that Jeff and Chris Candy were already friends, and that's how it happened?
Yeah, so they met because Chris Candy went on Warped Tour. He was running the Plea for Peace tent, and because Jeff was crashing Warped Tour, they kept going to the tent because I'm guessing because Chris is a nice guy.
Yeah, I had hit up Ariel Belilak. I'm really sorry if you're listening to this. I said your last name wrong, but she was working for Take Action for 1-800-Suicide, and I had like been in touch with her because I was getting petitions signed in Long Island to get a national suicide hotline, and so we were already emailing. And then when our tour fell through, so this is probably after we met, Mike. This is probably after the parking lot. After our tour fell through, and we were on, I was just like, hey, I see the Warped Tour is going to be in Idaho or I forget, Idaho or Montana. And I was like, can I just come hang out and maybe help out with the thing today and like maybe get you some signatures, just like something that makes me feel not fucking useless, and something for us to do today as a band because we don't know anybody out here. We don't know anything to do. And she was like, yeah, sure. And they were sharing a tent with the Plea for Peace, and that's when I met Chris and Mida and Dusty.
Dusty, I forgot about
Dusty, baby. Dusty got really, really mad at me because we borrowed the Plea for Peace hand truck and lost it.
Oh dear,
she was fucking pissed.
Understandable.
And at the time, like I was definitely the kind of person to be like, "What the fuck? Who cares?" But I was even like, "Oh, that even I know that's bad."
How long have you been friends with Chris, Mike?
I feel like I met Chris in '99. He was, I believe, 13.
Okay.
13 or 14. Well, it's 99, 32 years. Yeah, something around there. 99.
How did that meeting go?
So he came. I played a show in LA, and he just came to the show. And he had to actually. Did he? I can't remember, but he's just such a nice kid. He was so nice and just very like. Even when he was young, he was just so much more adult. You could just. It just felt like you're having a conversation with an adult when he was a kid, and I just gravitated towards him. Really, one of my special friends in life. I love the guy.
Yeah, and so Jeff, you became friends with him too from that Plea for Peace Warped Tour.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just like, I don't know why he was so nice to me, to be honest with you. Like, but yeah, like we just hit it off and started talking. I think we both just shared a lot of the same interests. I was, certainly like fanning out a little bit, I bet, over just like being at like the Plea for Peace, hanging out with like the Plea for Peace crew and shit, and yeah, he just became a friend, and we stayed in touch on that Vans Warped Tour. I met like 6 or 7 people that I'm just still friends with in my life that I feel like I'm going to be friends with forever. It's crazy.
What's funny about, I didn't realize that Mida was on that tour until, so like in my book, The Arrogant Sons of Bitches chapter, I have a photo from that tour.
Yeah.
And Mida, after the book came out, he's like, hey, that's awesome that you put a picture of me in the book. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, in the ASOB chapter. And I looked closely, there's a photo of you guys playing like an acoustic show.
Yeah.
And there's Mida there. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that was Mida. That's so weird.
I love it. I love that.
So you two became friends. Like, when did you like start to actually become like friends?
God, I'm not 100% sure.
Here's something I remember.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But I like, so that show had happened. We didn't really meet. We didn't talk. I don't know. I probably was like, hey, big fan. But I hung out with Hero a bunch, and then I moved to Georgia, and Jason Tin had moved to Georgia, and you sent me like a MySpace message or something. It was like, hey man, like, I know you're friends with Candy. He tells me you live in Athens, Georgia. My friend Jason Tin just moved down there. He doesn't like, I think you're like, he doesn't know anybody, or like he could probably stand to meet some people. Here's his number. You should hit him up. I was like, sure, that sounds nice. I just moved here too. I don't really know too many people. And that's what we were talking. And then like in a bunch of months later, I was like, hey, Candy, you think Mike would put out a Bomb the Music Industry record? Cause I was like never really even thinking about Bomb the Music Industry being on any label unless it could be on Asian Man or Discord, which like Discord is out of the question because we're not from DC. And Candy asked you and you were like, okay. And then that's when we first talked on the phone, was when we talked about putting out Get Warmer. And then I think like the more I was like coming out to the West Coast and hanging, we were like, oh yeah, we're friends, right? What do you think? How do you feel about that? Remembering
that could very well be. I definitely remember. I definitely remember asking you to introduce Jason Tin to people in Athens. I'm trying to remember it, and I very well believe that Chris Candy is the reason why the Bomb of the Music Industry release came to be, but I can't say for 100% that I'm certain that's the case, but it probably is.
But that means like, so we became friends, like we were working together first before we really became friends.
Right. So I'm guessing what I usually do with bands when I start working with them, we probably had a long conversation on the phone. So I can just explain like, this is what I do. So there's no misunderstanding. I don't remember that call, but
I remember it so well.
Okay.
I was in my kitchen in Athens, Georgia. I was pacing around. I was like, oh my God, Christine, Mike Park's going to call me. My nephew was born that day. It was a while. And that also means it was on 420 now that I think about it. But it was like, that was a big moment in my life. Like nobody, like, I don't know, up until then, really nobody fucking gave a shit, you know?
Yeah, Mike, it's a big deal. I can clearly remember the first time you and I talked on the phone.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big deal. And you know what you told me?
What I tell you?
Oh no.
Okay, you want to hear this story? Okay.
Yeah.
I was on my way to work. I worked at a drugstore in Gilroy. It was called Bill's Drugs.
Okay.
And I told you that, and then you said, "Do you ever steal at work?" And I said, "No." And you said, "You should steal."
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Why was I saying that? Was I trying to
I don't know. You tell me.
I was trying to freak you out, or was I being serious?
I think you were just trying to be funny.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry for being a bad influence back then.
So Aaron, did you start stealing?
I didn't start stealing.
Good.
You dumb fuck. Steal from the pharmacy. What's wrong with you? Steal from them. Mike's right.
Should steal. If you're working at a drugstore, everyone go steal.
Is that
Mike Park says so?
Is that a mom and pop in Gilroy? Bill's?
It was a small chain that was kind of in the Bay Area.
Ooh, that's a gray area.
and it's gone now?
It got bought out by a place called Long's Drugs, which was like probably like a more of a West Coast chain.
I know about Long's.
And I think Long's got bought out by CVS, which is a national chain. So,
and we all know about CVS. Yeah.
Thank you for coming to our podcast, The History of Drugstores.
So Bomb the Music Industry, you were just giving away records on quote unquote up until that point.
We might have had vinyl at that point.
Okay, so the relationship with Mike, was that about physical release then?
Oh yeah, that he would do the CD and the vinyl and the digital. Like he did everything. It was just also on quote unquote.
So you could buy the album from Mike digital, or you can just get it from you for free?
Yes.
So I do recall like some of those early sales reports, like Jeff remarking like, why are people paying for the digital? And this is before streaming. It's mostly like iTunes purchases. So
it was literally the same thing you would get from me. But I mean, I don't know. People who listen to Asian Man may not know about quote unquote. It's a pretty small, like niche thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was on your website exclusively. It wasn't like, you would have to know about your website and know about you.
Yeah, it wasn't on every website. It was only on my website.
Yes. So this era, I kind of think of this era, I don't know the order of things, but there's like this period of Asian Man where it's like bomb the music industry, AJJ, Hard Girls, Lemuria. It's kind of this kind of exciting period
Shinobu.
Of all these really good Shinobu, these really good like punkish kind of bands, but they're not just punk, they're also like unique. They all kind of make unique type of music that falls under the umbrella of punk, in my opinion. So we kind of discussed how Bomb got there. How did this? What was the beginning of this period? I mean, did you get AJJ first, or?
So this was like a dark period of Asian Man. I saw as I got older. So I started Asian Man when I was 26, but as I got older into my 30s, I kept releasing music by people who were my peers and my age, and it took me a second there to realize, I'm old. Kids don't want to buy music by old people. So I had to really start going to shows again, like going to house shows, going to Gilman Street and kind of seeing what are kids listening to, asking. A lot of volunteers would come in. I just asked, what are you listening to? And so we had an employee, Skylar Suarez, which everybody here knows. And he's the one who introduced me to AJJ. He had seen him at a house show, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta check this band out." And also Lemuria. So he was responsible for AJJ and Lemuria. So check these bands out.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Also responsible for No Torso.
Yes. Great band. This ska band from Norway, but nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
But
I know who they are.
Yay.
And then so it's a lot of these bands too, like you were also putting out the record on Quote Unquote, right, Jeff?
Literally none of Shinobu and Hard Girls, but not Lemuria or AJJ. We didn't know each other.
Chodo Ghetto?
Yeah. Chodo Ghetto, but did we talk about Chodo Ghetto?
No,
but I'm sorry.
Chodo Ghetto was on fucking Quote Unquote before we were on Asian Man.
Okay.
Like Candy just emailed and was like, "Yo, dude, I haven't spoke to you in a couple of years. Check out my band. You want to do it on Quote Unquote?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah."
Get your shit together, Aaron.
Do your research.
Damn. Okay.
There's lots of facts out there. Yeah, all this information's out there. I don't know if that's right either.
All right, let's step back a little bit to the original Bruce Lee band. The original Bruce Lee band was a side project. That was like your very, very first post Skank and Pickle. Or did it happen during Skank and Pickle?
During Skank and Pickle, yeah.
Yeah. And you just tapped Less Than Jake and you said, let's make this record for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many shows of that version of Bruce Lee band did you play?
I can't remember exact, but I think we played 5 shows. I think we played Santa Cruz, Petaluma.
Yeah, I saw the Petaluma show.
Sonora, Riverside, and maybe that was it. Maybe 4 shows.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was great. I was like, wow. Because at that point, even though I was only, I think like 25 years old at that point, I was already burnt on touring. So I was like, man, if I could just do this and not have to tour, just play once in a while, that'd be great. Because I had a lot of fun at those shows. And that was kind of an awakening almost of, I am not meant to tour, but I'd still like to play once in a while.
So the first version of Skank and Pickle, when it was Mattingly in the band, it was much more of an ensemble. And you and Mattingly, I think maybe even more him, like competed for the sort of the front man position. But Bruce Lee band, these couple of shows, it's like, now it's like Mike Park's band. Like in a much more overt way.
Yes, finally, huh? Finally.
Did you like that better?
I can't say if I liked it better. It was just fun. It was fun to do like a little side project with some friends, and a record that I thought was good. Even listening back, it just basically sounds like Less Than Jake with me singing. It's very Less Than Jake sounding, and it was just a fun. I mean, we did that in 2 days. We just blew through that thing. I was like, boom, screaming the vocals and just like everyone's express. I could see their expressions. Like when I did a good take, they'd be like, yes, and I was like, all right, next song. It was cool.
When you would then like record what would end up being the first Chinkies record with Slapstick,
Mhm.
and at the time you didn't have anything, you didn't know what it was going to be for. Did you consider like, I'll just do another Bruce Lee band, or did you just say like, that's Bruce Lee band, that one record, and that's it?
I don't remember exactly, but I know like the Chinkies had come up because I was talking with Margaret Cho, and this was about the time she had a TV show coming out on ABC, and they were struggling with a name, and so she was telling me like some of the crazy ideas they were coming up with. Like ABC was like, what about like Walk on the Wild Side? And she was just like, yeah,
no.
so she's like, what is this bullshit? Why don't we should just call it the Chinkies? And then when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna start a band, the Chinkies. So I don't know if that was the reason why that recording project turned into the Chinkies, but I know that's how the name came about. So I'm just guessing at this point if that was the reason why those recordings became the Chinkies. I know I'd wanted to do it. I had these songs, and so I'm just guessing that's the reason why that first Chinkies album came to be.
And you had wanted to do an all Asian band too. That was part of the thing as well, right?
Correct.
At the time, was there any way for you to differentiate what was going to be Chinkies and what was going to be Bruce Lee band, or was it all just kind of one thing?
Well, after that first Chinkies record, yes, for sure, because I wanted the Chinkies to be hornless. I wanted it to be like organ-driven ska, like more two-tone influenced, and I wanted to have like the imagery of the band to be like dressing mod and having that like the specials, kind of like emulate the specials, but as Asian Americans.
Nice.
So it was definitely, there was a focus behind it, and to be overtly political too.
Yeah. I would say my favorite project of yours from the early days is Chinkies. And I would say the first record at the top and then the second one just under it.
I'm with you. I don't know about the order of the records. I love them all. I love those records. It's like, Mike, it's like, I don't know how many Chinky songs are there? Like 50, 60, and they're all good. It's incredible. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I love like you just what you said, exactly like that. The organ driven, it's kind of like, it's more of that mid tempo, but it's still got a punk energy to it, but it's not punk ska in the way that we thought of it at that time.
Yeah. And also it wasn't like ska in a way that it had no, like, because I feel like trad ska at that point was just really stuffy, you know? And two-tone was really stuffy, like the bands that were inspired by that, that at least I'd come across. And the Chinkies were just like energy and fun, but still had that sound. It was great.
I can relate to the stuffiness. The ska scene, for those who are new to the ska scene, it was quite different in the 90s. There was a lot of stuffiness. Early 90s in particular. There was a lot of assholes in that scene. Like, if you didn't play ska the proper way, there's a lot of backlash. Skank and Pickle dealt with that quite a bit, especially in the like LA. The scenes that were big were LA and San Francisco that had like a big skinhead and mod scene. We were not appreciated.
I saw, I was a really big, I still am, Hepcat fan at the time. And I saw Hepcat at Slim's back in the 90s, and very excited because I love that band. But I felt uncomfortable there. Like I didn't feel like I was welcome there.
Was that the show you got punched at, Aaron?
No, I did not get punched. I got headbutted.
Headbutted, that's what it was.
I got headbutted at the Special Beat show.
By a skinhead.
By a skinhead, and that skinhead was the first drummer of Monkey.
Yeah, that guy, he likes to fight. His name was Alan. I remember he would just get in fights. Yeah, those skinheads over the years of meeting skinheads all over the world, a lot of great friends that I met, but also a lot of those friends they love to fight.
Well, you know what he did is he came up to me. He like slow motion headbutted me. I didn't know him. He just like, this was before Monkey started. This was part of the funniness of it. We were in the pit in the Warfield.
Uh-huh.
He was like pointed at me from across the pit. I have no idea why. And he like went up to me. He grabbed my head and he like slow motion headbutted me. And he did this like several times. He was super drunk. And then I told you about this like after the concert. I was like, dude, this is so weird. This guy was just doing this to me. And then cut to like, it must have been a few months later, Monkey's first show. And you were there too. And I was like, dude, that's the guy I told you about right there. And then you went up to him and you told him the story.
Whoa.
And you're like, do you remember you were like headbutting Aaron right here? And he's like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I was really drunk. And then like, I remember like we would be at Monkey shows. Every single time you would bring up that story as though you had never brought it up before.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, and he would apologize like more emphatically each time. Like, I am so sorry. I am so embarrassed.
That's awesome.
Jeff, have you ever been so drunk that you've slow motion headbutted somebody?
No. And I've been very drunk, but I haven't done that.
Okay.
I'll try to think of the most violent thing I've done when I'm drunk, but it's usually just, crying. Crying violently.
Crying. So what brought up the Bruce Lee, the second Bruce Lee record in like 2005? We got the RX Bandits. Was it just a like whim sort of thing?
Yeah, it was 10 years. It was 10 years, and so I thought I was ready. No, oh God, I'm getting this totally wrong.
This podcast rocks.
Okay, this is what happened. Actually, I don't remember. Can I just make up something that I think happened? I can't.
Go for it.
I believe I got offered to play a show in Japan. And so I asked RX if they wanted to back me, and they said yes. And I said, let's record some music, and they said yes, and so that's how that happened. But I can't confirm it 100%.
All right. And so then that record came out of it too.
But that was a fun experience because that band shreds. That drummer. Yeah. I don't know if it's the original drummer still. Adam, can you confirm?
Yeah, it's still Chris Sagakis.
Oh, that's sick. I didn't know that either.
He can play trad ska so well. I was just like, yes. Awesome drummer.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
What did you think of his hair though at the time?
I can't remember. Did he have dreads?
Yeah, come on.
Well, you know what I thought about that.
It's fucked up.
I don't like to say negative things about anybody's appearance.
Sure.
Mike was trying to get Kevin to cut his dreads for so long. I was like, they look sick.
How much money did you offer Kevin to cut his dreads?
I don't know. I probably jokingly said a couple $100, but it was disgusting.
No, it wasn't. It was rad.
Petite Japanese American man that had dreads hitting the floor. It was gross.
Yeah.
So we went on tour, and we'd be walking the subways of Japan, and his dreads are just dragging on the stairs. It's disgusting.
It's good for the immune system.
That's true, actually. True that.
How happy were you when he cut his hair?
I was happy, but the funny thing is, like, even to this day, I'll always go like, man, you shouldn't have cut those dreads.
Let's talk about the Kevin origin story.
Okay.
Kevin. So I grew up. I was in the covering music in San Jose at that time in the early 2000s, and Kevin was in like just local bands like Whiskey Avengers,
Insolence.
Insolence.
Yeah.
They were big, but then they kind of were like smaller at that point. So I remember watching, him playing local bands and just feeling like this drummer is amazing, but why is he in these small local bands? Right? Did you have the same experience?
Well, I wasn't aware because I don't go to a lot of shows like those bar shows that he was playing. That San Jose scene that he was part of was very bar oriented. So I went to a party. The drummer for Monkey I think it was his birthday.
Is this a skinhead drummer?
No,
Okay.
this is the drummer that's been playing with him for like the last 18 years.
Okay.
And the Whiskey Avengers were playing this party, and Kevin was the drummer. And they were playing some trad ska stuff, and he could play it so well. I was like, dear God. So what happened while they were playing, in my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to do a Chinkies reunion with Kevin, because it was always hard for me to find a good drummer for the Chinkies. And that's how it started. I talked to him, and the Asian Man 15-year anniversary was coming up. And so I had the Chinkies reunite for that. And that's how I met Kevin.
Who was in the Chinkies for that reunion?
It was Jason Tin, Steve Choi didn't do it.
Oh.
Jason Tin, Kevin Higuchi, Byron,
Mm-hmm.
played bass. I don't even know why I didn't ask Mia.
Huh.
I felt like she was too busy, so I didn't want to bother her, which was a terrible thing for me to do. So Byron played bass, and then this woman, I forgot her name, Sandra played keyboards, and Greg Alessandro played second guitar.
I was at that show,
and that was the lineup. Yeah.
How did that show go?
I thought it went really well.
Yeah, Adam and I were at that show too. Yeah,
Jeff was at that show too.
I was. It was great.
Were you skanking, Jeff?
Probably not. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh well, we were skanking. So
hey, I was an artist performing that weekend, so I didn't want to get my limbs too achy for the technical proficiency required for beyond the music industry.
Exactly. Understandable.
So did you get Kevin into Jeff's band? Is that?
I think indirectly, because we were going to do, I guess like 2014, 2015.
It might have been 13.
2013? Okay.
It was, long ago.
2013, Jeff, we started becoming good friends, and Jeff would come out, stay at my house, and probably would be play a solo show. I feel like, maybe. Am I totally off?
I don't know that ever happened, but we were friends, and like I would I don't know, something I remember really that was just really awesome about you very early on was that like I didn't have much work and I didn't have much money coming in, and you would like hand off like very like easy graphic design things for Asian Man to me just so I could like make $100 here and there. So I was like, oh, this guy's nice. And then we just kind of like, we were always friends. You had at that point encouraged me to start my own label. Like we were just talking like friends and peers. And at some point we were like, we should make a ska record together.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, we'll do Bruce Lee band. I was like, wow, cool.
But the vision was very different. I was going to make it like punk, like almost like falling sickness, like absence. Just like I wanted it to be punk as fuck.
Yeah.
But ska. And so I said, I have this drummer friend, Ryan, who also runs the studio, and we'll just do a 3-piece. I'll play guitar, you play bass, Ryan will play drums. So we, true to the Bruce Lee form, you don't rehearse, you just start recording. So we started working on the first song, and within I'm talking the first 2 minutes, I'm like, Ryan cannot play drums. He can't play ska.
It was rough. He's a great drummer, and I think we were talking about. He's like, yeah, I don't like ska. We're like, huh?
Yeah, he's a good rock drummer. He just doesn't know how to play ska, and so I remember like going, okay, hold on a sec, and then like talking to Jeff and going, I don't know what to do. Like, you're all the way here from New York and we're recording a record and this guy can't play drums. So I remembered Kevin from that party. I don't know why I didn't call him in the first place. I felt like maybe he was too busy.
Yeah, when you were like, I'll get the Gooch to do it. It was like you had a fucking epiphany. You were like, of course. Why was this not what we were doing the whole time?
And yeah, so I called him and just thankfully he was available that day. He came in and learned all the songs just on the spot. It was so lightning fast too. It was like boom, boom, boom. I think Huguenot was involved too.
Huguenot was totally involved. Huguenot was part of that first, and he wrote songs with me for those records and on his own.
Okay, but we did that community support group first, right?
No, we did Everything Will Be All Right, my friend, first, and then,
really?
But community support came out. We recorded that a year later. But
wow!
We were dragging on Everything Will Be All Right for so long that I remember being like, I bet I'll be able to get this 7-inch out of my label before you get the fucking shit we recorded a year ago out. And I did.
Whoa. I don't remember this.
And I think Everything Will Be All Right took like 2 years to come out or something.
Why?
I don't know.
Were you mixing it? Is that why?
I was mixing it, but I don't think that's why. Because I wouldn't have been giving you shit about it not coming out if it was my fault. Although that would be a pretty cool move. Maybe I did. I don't know.
It had to be because it took.
No, don't revise history.
I recorded children's songs.
This is true. This was during community support group that happened.
It took 10 years for you to get the first song done.
Yeah,
song's great, by the way.
That that moment had passed and shit like, I don't know. I remember we were working on stuff for that children's record that I was just like, I don't know that a version of us doing Everybody Can Do the Ska is good. I don't know if this is good. Like, there are things I was like, I don't know about that. Like, do you like Monster Truck? Do you wish we put out Monster Truck?
I don't know.
What Santok or what was the Nabia? You wish we put on Nabia?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I bet Nabia would be good.
Oh shit! Well, we could do it. I feel like I felt you like your vibe is you're like, I don't know about this. Let's just do it. I was like, I'll just focus on Bruce Lee Band stuff. I'm sorry, I really dragged on mixing that mic. I've felt bad about that for a while, and I always will.
Well, I liked using it against you every few years. I'd say. Just out of the blue, I'd say, how's the children's record coming?
I'm like, oh, man.
Sorry to go off on a tangent there, Aaron.
I mean, it's of the same era, though. Like that ABC video that got put out, like, what, last year or 2 years ago? Like, that's from that Bruce Lee 7-inch recording session in 2014.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I just mixed it.
Oh yeah, I have a quick question. Jeff, you said that you and Mike Huguenot wrote some of the material for that Bruce Lee record, or the 7-inch and the record. I'm not sure which specifically you're talking about.
Yeah, me and Mike each wrote a song for the LP, and we wrote a lot on that 7-inch.
Tell me what songs you guys wrote.
If I remember correctly, Mike wrote the first two. Mike wrote Ag and Tanning Depression.
I wrote Ag for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, you're Mike. I'm sorry.
Mike. Oh, what we talking about Huguenot?
We're talking about the Bruce Lee Band.
Oh. Fantastic.
So Mike Park wrote the first two. Diana was a co-write with me and Mike Huguenot were just kind of like, so me and Mike Huguenot were staying at Mike's house. I believe Mike Huguenot was probably not staying there, but Mike would come over.
Mike was staying over there.
He was, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's funny. He lives so close. And we would just wake up in the morning and be like, all right, get a guitar. Let's try and write a song together. And then we wrote Diana. And Huguenot came in with the riff for It Isn't, I forget what it's called, but It Isn't Helping. And like we kind of just built a song from there, and I had kind of come in with Miss Me like fully formed.
I can really hear your songwriting style in Diana in particular, I'd say.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the vocal melody.
Oh, that's very funny. That's a Huguenot melody.
That's Huguenot. I thought that was Huguenot.
Yeah.
Weird. To me, it sounds very, very Jeff Rosenstock.
I mean, I feel like I steal a lot from Mike Huguenot. He's in my band, so So I kind of cheated him out of being mad at me about that.
But Miss Me, I felt like was 100% Jeff's song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the LP. So Mike Park, you wrote most of the LP then?
God, I don't even remember.
Yeah. Mike wrote basically the whole LP, but like what would happen is kind of what it still happens to an extent, which is like you would have like a verse and a chorus, and I'd be like, okay, here's how we make this a song, right?
I can't. It's been so long. I can't remember a lot of that record. My memory is terrible. It's really frustrating. That's why I'm trying to write down more of the stories that I can remember before I go completely senile. Anyhow, anywho,
I think that's kind of how it goes. It was kind of like, you know, Mike had it, and then me and Mike and Kevin would just kind of go through it and figure out how to structure it, and then they would become songs. But then like generations on that is Huguenot, and Dollars and Cents is me.
I see.
Oh yeah, I remember having a hard time singing Dollars and Cents, and I think you had to sing a scratch vocal first to help me follow that one. Huh, look at that. Old man's remembering stuff.
Can I talk about how much weed you smoked during those sessions, Mike?
Let's hear about it.
Mike was just smoking. Mike had like old weed in his house. Accurate?
I think so. Yeah.
Like super old. Mike was like, "Oh, I know you like weed. I got some weed. It's really old." It was like this dusty weed in like an envelope. He's like, "This is like 10 years old." And
you're right now. I remember it. Oh my god.
And I remember that Mike's like, "I'll smoke weed with you. I'll be a bad boy." You were really worried. You were worried about your pancreas too.
Really?
And we just kept saying pancreas, because like you weren't feeling good. You're like, maybe I'll smoke weed. I'll feel better. It's like, yeah, man, whatever you need to do for your pancreas. And I remember you like smoked weed and then drank like a whole mason jar of water and then blew the weed smoke out.
Yes.
I was like, that's funny. That's a good bit.
Rastafari.
How many times have you smoking weed in your life, Mike?
Not a lot, but probably maybe 100.
Really?
Is that more than you thought, Aaron?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a half dozen.
I'm old, so it's just like I can like when I went on tour with Alkaline Trio, I think if I was on a bus, I would probably smoke every day because I was on the bus and I didn't have to worry about anything. That's the reason. Take Alkaline Trio out of the equation, then maybe it's half a dozen.
So you enjoy being high, because I feel like I would assume your brain, the way your brain works, that you would not like it.
No, yeah, I can't be out and about. I have to be set. Like, okay, we're here. We're not going anywhere. Everything is done. That's the only way it'll work. I know I had seen Alkaline Trio play in San Francisco once, and I got high backstage, and it sucked. Like the show sucked. I was just like, "Oh my god, how do people live like this? This is normal." And I remember like one of the guys who got high with me, like I just kept kind of looking at him, and then he would look back at me and just nod his head. And I'd be like, "What the hell is going on? This is normal for most people." And I don't know how people can just function like Dan Andriano. Yeah. I don't think he minds if I say, he's a pro smoker. That guy is just smoking nonstop. It's like water.
This is what I remember. When I did that tour with you, Skankin Pickle.
Yeah.
So Lynette, Jerry, Lars, smoking like, first thing in the morning every day, right?
Right.
You and Ian, and I don't think Jay smoked, or very little.
Who's Jay?
Jay Vance.
Why was Jay Vance there if Ian's there?
Oh no, okay, not Ian. Sorry.
Get your shit straight, Aaron.
I know, sorry. So, I remember them teasing you, and then you grabbed a joint and you smoked it. Like defiantly, and you were not happy at all.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah.
Mike, out of the times that you've smoked weed, how many times do you think it was as a bit?
Not many. If I did smoke, I wanted to. I did it. I wasn't pressured into it. I wanted to do it. And I've enjoyed.
No,
I've had great...
as a bit. If you're doing a bit, you're not being pressured into it. I feel like several times when I've been around you and you smoked weed, you've been like, "Wouldn't this be funny?" Smoke.
I could see that. I think people enjoy. I think I perform well high, like not in terms of like live performance, but just in a group setting. I'll get high as long as I know we're not going anywhere. It can be very enjoyable, and I can be very entertaining.
Did you smoke weed for this interview?
Hell no.
Doing a podcast high sounds like, oh God, terrifying.
So Kevin, you got Kevin to do this. And then, so Kevin joins Jeff Rosenstock's band, your band, shortly after this, right?
Yeah.
Was it just because you worked with him and you're like, this guy is amazing?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that my band was going to be a band. So when I talked to Jack about recording a record and I was trying to do it, like I had a plan on the East Coast that involved John and our drummer Tim, and that all of that, like there was a tour and there was a whole plan and it all kind of fell through. And then I was like, I should hit up Jack and see if I could record on the West Coast. And he said, yeah. And so I was like, damn, like it would be sick to have Huguenot on the record. It'd be sick to have Kevin on the record. I wonder if Kevin, I was wondering if Kevin would even want to play these songs, if he could wrap his brain around the songs, if he ever played the kind of music that I make before. Cause it wasn't like a ska record. I've only really seen him in Whiskey Avengers and Bruce Lee Band. And then he obviously just smashed it and we all got along really good. And now we're a band.
Yeah, he's so good. I mean, I saw him last year. He played with AJJ.
Yeah.
Best I've ever seen AJJ as a full band.
Yeah, they're great with him, man. He's a great drummer. He's a great person to be in a band with. He rules. Kevin is the best.
He'd only had one practice at that point too, and he was reading his notes off of an iPad while playing the songs.
Oh, Kevin loves to read off an iPad while he's playing. Love you, Kevin.
He's so chill too. So being in a traveling environment with a jerk is never beneficial. But he's just such a good partner.
He's a great hang. He's the best. Yeah, he's fun.
You released Everything Will Be All Right, My Friend, and Community Support Group. That was pretty close to when you released them. And so at the time when I got them, I think I just put them in my iTunes as one record, which I forgot about that until I was researching this interview, because I forgot that you had released that EP. I just thought it was the one record. But you know how long the two records are put together?
I would guess that it might be a half hour.
Yep, half hour, 31 minutes, both of those put together.
Yeah, man, punk
rock. Mike, you wrote Occupy the Love?
I think so.
Do you remember anything about what inspired that song?
No, I don't even know the lyrics. Occupy the love out of my mind.
It's from the bottom of your heart.
Bottom of your heart. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I write a lot. The problem, I don't know if it's a problem. It could be a problem for some people. I write a lot of music, and a lot of it I just forget. Even old demos that I make, I'll listen to it, and if I had never listened to it again, I would never have remembered the song. So I have so many notes, recording notes of songs I've written. If I lost the tape, I would never go oh, that whatever happened to that song. I don't remember it.
So Dan Pothouse had nothing to do with those first two releases?
Dan Pothouse probably went ag on the 7-inch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was at my house when we did gang vocals.
I love it.
When did Bruce Lee Band became the official band, the permanent band, and with Dan being in the band instead of Mike?
So I always Dan has played with me live quite a bit, backing me in different tours. And so even though Mike had played on the record, I wanted Dan to play live because you have to have a good vibe with someone live, and not saying I don't with Mike, but we haven't played much together. And I felt comfortable playing with Dan. So I asked him, I believe we were going to Japan. Am I correct?
It was, I think it was Japan and Korea.
And Korea.
And we probably, and I don't remember, but if that was the show where we did like Bottom of the Hill the day that we landed.
I think that is.
That was a fucking nightmare. But also a really good bit. A really good bit to never do again.
Yes.
Now we know what that's like.
But it was a pretty big show in Korea. It's usually a big show in Japan, but it was a festival in Korea, and then 2 shows in Tokyo, which are actually big shows too, looking back. But in my mind, this tour is all about Korea. So I wanted to bring the A game, and we had Dan on guitar, actually Jeff on saxophone and keyboards, Jerry Lundquist on trombone, John Dominici on bass, and Kevin on drums. So we had a 7-piece band, and I thought we were very well rehearsed and went in it. Minus Jerry. Jerry was probably the worst rehearsed of us all.
I think Jerry was good on that tour. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I was just having a fun time hanging out with Jerry.
Yeah, I just I love him so much as a brother and just an old bandmate. I just wanted him to be part of it, but I kind of remember him dropping the ball at one of those shows and kind of getting mad at him. I think it was Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
And like, man, you are drunk and you are playing like shit. So I think Adam Davis can kind of relate. He's spent a lot of time with Jerry on the road.
Oh yeah, Jerry likes to drink.
So
I remember on that tour, just like walking back to the Airbnb or whatever we were staying in Shimokazawa, and like hearing just "Kampai!" ha, 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 like from down the street, and everything's closed, but this like one izakaya is open downstairs, and Jerry's just like doing shots with everybody there, and being like, "Jerry rules."
Oh yes, the best.
That's so funny. So we had gone back again, and we brought Lars from Skankin Pickle. So it was me, Lars, and Jerry, Jeff, Kevin, and Dan. And
that was as Skankin Pickle, though.
I hate telling people that.
You fucking can't change history.
Okay, so the story is we got offered a.
Sorry, Mike. I was trying to put you on blast.
So there's 2 big agencies in Japan, and we got the agency that puts on like Fuji Rock Festival hit us up to do a Skank and Pickle show in Japan, offered a shitload of money, and I was like, oh god, kind of want to do it, but I didn't want all the members to be involved. So I talked to Lars and Jerry about it. I'm like, hey, let's do this, but let's not tell the other members. And so they said, yeah. And then I talked to Jeff, Dan, and Kevin. I'm like, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to do it in Japan. It's not going to be announced anywhere else. And I never said Skank and Pickle was playing. And we just did it. We went out. It was pretty freaking awesome.
It was so fun. Those shows were so fun. Because I was with Les and Jake and Real Big Fish and Kamuri.
Yeah.
So it's always with Kamuri, but like, wow. What a lineup.
It was very plush. Like,
did they put you up at a nice place?
Oh, yeah.
And we all got our own fucking rooms, bro.
Yeah. Six different hotel rooms for the band.
Hotel rooms as far as the eye could see.
How many people would you say you played in front of?
I think Tokyo was 2,700. That was the biggest show.
Okay.
And do we play Nagoya and Osaka? Or
yes.
Okay.
But those are smaller spots, right?
Nagoya was 700 people, and then Osaka was 1,200. Just feeding off what Jeff was saying, hearing Jerry yelling. So I would hear him and Lars yelling in their hotel room, and I'd put my ear up to the door to listen to them, and they were just 2 friends. They were best friends in Skank and Pickle, and they had basically had a falling out where they hadn't talked in almost 20 years. To see them jump right back into it, like time had stood still, was amazing. And I would just listen, just on my own. No one else could see me. And the joy of me hearing them just partying so hard, watching Japanese television, I could hear them like talking about the show and just laughing drunk. It was awesome.
So when you did the very, very first Bruce Lee band record, you had gotten, and there was an issue with the Bruce Lee estate, right? And you called it B period Lee band.
Right. So I never got in trouble with the estate. It just coincidentally the pressing plant that I was using, the general manager was Robert Lee, which is Bruce Lee's brother. And so he just called me and said, listen, I'm just warning you, Universal owns all this copyright stuff. They're going to go after you. So you need to change it. I'm just warning you. So I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. So I changed it to B. Lee. And there was actually images of Bruce Lee in the artwork. Took all that out and rebranded it as the B. Lee Band.
So how come it's Bruce Lee Band again?
Because I don't use the same company that Robert Lee works at.
See,
I feel like, what's the worst case scenario? Are they really going to go?
How much? What are they coming after you for? Like $80? Like,
Exactly. And it's like, whatever. It's a tribute to him almost.
Yeah.
So if
nobody's listening to the Bruce Lee Band thinking like, this is Bruce Lee's band.
Did you go back to BruceLee for that 2005 record, or was it?
I did.
When did you go back to? Yeah, you
did.
Okay, yeah. So at that point, you just like whatever.
Exactly. It'd been 10 years. I'm like, what are they going to care? And if I feel like worst case scenario, I'll get a cease and desist saying you need to change the name.
Yeah. So at the time of the Bruce Lee Band thing too, because you had all those issues with Misfits of Ska, do you think that impacted your kind of cautiousness at that point?
100%.
Okay. And so you hadn't had any issues since then, right?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. So, okay, you're like, we can go back to Bruce Lee Band.
Yeah. It's a killer name and way better than B. Lee Band.
Yeah, B. Lee
yeah,
Band.
It's not.
So when you did the evictions...
Rental eviction. Do your research, Carnes.
I'm calling it the Evictions record. That's like
the band,
like a nickname for it.
Oh, cool. It seems longer than the actual title almost.
So Dan's in the band at this point, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions about it. Just to clear that. Let's just move. Let's move
Fantastic.
on.
Wow. Well, like the fucking Rental Eviction, I feel like was a reboot of the Bruce Lee Band because we had done we had done the tour, we'd done the Pickle tour, and then we just all did our shit for a while, and I don't really even remember why we did it except other than just like why was it because we were going to Hawaii?
50. I was turning 50.
Oh yeah.
And so I said, let's go for my 50th birthday. Let's go to Hawaii, Japan. Did we go Japan and Korea on that album?
We very much did.
Okay. So
it was
Hawaii,
awesome.
Japan, Korea. But okay, so that wasn't now I'm lost. What year did Rental Eviction come out?
That well, I guess maybe 2019.
2019? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah, so it was for my 50th.
Huh.
And
wait a second though, but no, then that would have been was after Post came out. That wasn't for that tour. I don't know why we did it. Maybe we did that tour. We were just like, that was fun.
You sure? God, now I'm totally lost.
I think I'm sure because I remember I was stressing out about a Craig thing. I was like going to go up to mix to record the musical right afterwards, and I was getting like phone calls while I was there, and I was like, oh brother, but that was after Post had come out, and I remember being on the roof with you being like, I don't know how all this shit's gonna work out in Korea.
On the roof at your house in New York?
On the roof at Trash and Jeff's place in Korea.
Oh, hello. Got it.
It was cold on that tour. Mike bought a jacket. He was sad about buying a jacket.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How expensive was that jacket?
I bought it at Uniqlo in Korea, and I think it was like $130.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeff, how many times did he say, $130?
I don't know. It would be easier to tell you for how long was he not saying, jacket, $130.
I also thought I broke my shoulder on that tour.
Oh yeah, that's why, and that's how you know this is afterwards, because you did a flip, a suicide flip, at Bottom of the Hill. Where what was it? Japan?
In Japan, yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, nobody was even watching, and like, I broke my collarbone or I broke my shoulder. Why'd I do the flip? What's wrong with me? That's why that song ends with, "Why did I do that flip?"
Oh, it's all.
Do you even remember that song? If you had to, okay.
you wrote that song.
That's fair. Yeah, that's not your song, so that's an unfair question of me to ask.
True that.
How long is that? That record is like what? 12 minutes?
I don't know.
It's too long.
I'm on Spotify. Let me look it up. It's too long. Fuck you. It's 12 minutes 16 seconds. That record rocks. I like like Bruce Lee Band a lot from this point on, because I felt like, Mike, you really started like writing like your truth. You know, it didn't really feel like you were like, I'm writing some lyrics. It was like you were getting shit out, and it's awesome. Like if I could only listen to my heart in particular on this record, I remember just being like, oh man, that's like a fucking that's some real shit. This rocks.
Yeah, that's a great song.
I'm good, huh?
On that song. How many people do you want to like tell you you're good on a daily basis?
I need at least 12 a day.
Okay.
You're great, Mike.
Yeah, you're great, Mike.
Oh, thanks.
Tweet at Mike. Tell him he's good.
Division in the Heartland and One Step Forward, Two Step Back.
Yeah.
These records sound angrier, in my opinion, than like even the stuff came before it. So did you guys record these at the same time, or
nope? So
they were recorded different.
Yeah, this is all pandemic now. So
yeah,
everyone had time. No one was touring, and I said, let's do. I know Kevin was coming home for Thanksgiving.
This was 2020,
and 2020.
Yeah, this is 2020. Yeah.
And I said, let's record when you're here. Jeff was living in LA at the time, so I said, Jeff, can you come? Let's all quarantine together. And we blasted that out, and that was super fun. And I think shortly after, Jeff's like, hey, I got some more time. Do you guys want to do a full length? Like, I'm talking maybe like 4 months later. And I said,
because you were talking about going to Hawaii. I was like, we should make a record in Hawaii.
Oh yeah. And
then you were like, but what if we made it in San Jose instead?
That's almost as good.
So yeah, that was I feel like all the two last records, Division and Heartland, and the full length that's coming out in May, One Step Forward, Two Steps Back, that's all because of the pandemic. We were able to get the time to record.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of like what you were feeling and the place you were coming at as a songwriter.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that a little bit? Sure.
It's just a lot of, Division and Heartland is pretty self-explanatory, at least in my mind, that we are a divided country. I feel like it's like a sporting event. If you read the lyrics, or listen to the lyrics, it feels like you're just rooting. Who's the home team? Is it the Republicans or is it the Democrats? Who's winning? It's so toxic, and it's terrible because I buy into this toxicity quite a bit myself. I can't help myself. I'm terrible. I keep telling myself to stop, but I can't. And so lyrically, it's all coming from a place of frustration and anger. And whether that's healthy or not, I don't know, but it was something that fueled me to write these songs. And I think I do believe these are good songs. And
yes,
I believe they have, they come from a place of truth. Whether you believe that or not is your prerogative, but at least it's the truth in my mind.
Yeah, I think Division in the Heartland, the song, is one of your best songs. Just the emotion of it and just the chorus. I really like the chorus a lot.
Yeah, it was fun. Jeff had a lot of friends record at home to do the group vocals, so we were able to have a lot of people participate. That's a neat thing about technology. One of the few good things is that you can have people involved even though they live thousands of miles away.
It is really cool for records that you could do that now. That's neat, you know?
So Jeff, was Division in the Heartland kind of big inspiration behind what led to you doing Ska Dream?
No, But
No, okay.
no, I mean, like why it Division in the Heartland didn't really change anything about my relationship with ska. Like it's the fourth record I made with the Bruce Lee band. I still like ska, and I don't know.
I thought you told me a story once about how you were listening to a bunch of Ska-punk records in like 2020 because I thought it was preparation for
Oh,
Division.
you know what? Yeah. I guess okay, yeah. I wouldn't say that we made it was that, but I remember on the drive up to do the Division the Heartland EP, I was just like, I'm just gonna listen to like Hello Rockview and Why Do They Rock So Hard and all of these like records that were like big for me when I was a kid on the drive. And I remember listening to them and just being like, man, these songs still just fucking kick ass. And I don't understand why like this era of ska gets shamed so hard, you know? And I think that certainly like influenced the avenues I was cool with going down for Ska Dream. And also like what I was talking about in the forward of your book and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Just that like, I don't know. I really like all those songs and I think they really hold up a lot more than I would have anticipated, you know? Not that I would have anticipated, I guess, but then that like you know, the conversation would lead you to believe.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, that era is like definitely better than I think a lot of people remember it, like you're saying. Like, whereas a lot of other eras, maybe it's the opposite,
Yeah.
Maybe people have overhyped.
Yeah, man. I think about looking back on like, you know, mid 2000s indie rock is like, that's not, or even like late 2000s, early teen tens indie rock is just like slow nothingness of all of it. And it's like, how could you imagine like looking back and being like, wow, what an era of forgettable music.
Totally.
It's funny you talk about indie rock because I love indie rock, but the shows, anytime I went to a show, they were so uninspiring. And I was like, man,
It's disappointing, right?
and it wasn't a friendly atmosphere, but I still love the music. I just never had a good time at the shows. I never felt like it was welcoming or exciting. People just seemed so like a lot of assholery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like 6 or 7 years ago, might have even been a little earlier than that. My friend, he bought tickets to go see the National in San Francisco, and I loved the National. He's like, "You want to go? I got a extra ticket." And I was like, "Cool." And they played the songs perfect, like flawlessly, exactly like the records. But I felt so bored.
Yeah, that's
like,
not your
why,
shit.
Like, why am I watching? I could just listen to this record at home. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting anything out of the live experience.
Yeah,
It's louder. I mean, at the same time, I saw like we played a festival with Bon Iver, and I don't listen to those records, and when I haven't particularly liked them. I respect that he and his band are doing like are doing an interesting thing, a cool thing. It's not for me. And then seeing it live at a festival, I was like, oh, I get this. This is like a big mood, a big vibe, you know, that everybody's in. I think I don't know, maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't translate to fun people dancing at a show, but it translates to sitting on a field after you've been smoking weed in the sun all day.
hell yeah.
Who were the guest appearances on the new record? Angelo Moore, Jeremy,
Brian from Monkey played trumpet.
Okay.
We had a bunch of people do group vocals, just like Huguenot, his fiance Angelina, Logan from Small Crush, the Moore family band was there. Who else is there? Our friend Gilbert and Laura.
Yeah.
Steve Borth, did he remix or do the last record?
Yeah, Steve Borth did a whole song.
Steve Borth did the last song. Yeah,
yeah.
He did a dub of it.
How was that working with Angelo?
Well, we were never there in person, so I just texted him and said, "Hey, will you throw down a solo? I'll throw you a couple $100." He's like, "Sure." It's very personal. So I just sent him the file, and he sent back the track, and we're like, "Well, another masterpiece."
Yeah.
I love the video. The video, it's Chris Grau make that?
Yeah. That was
Nice.
fun, even though, again, technology, one of the benefits of technology is green screen, that we can make a video and not be anywhere close to each other, including Jer was in the video too. Just green screen yourself and put together, let a great director like Chris Grau put things together, and boom.
Is everything okay? I heard an explosion.
You did?
You heard an explosion?
I heard a big boom.
I didn't hear that.
None of us heard it.
Also, my joke was that Mike said boom, and I said I heard a big explosion.
Oh.
Okay, we thought you heard a real explosion.
We all took it seriously.
I'm really sorry, you guys.
Very funny.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much for listening to In Defense of Ska. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you normally stream or download episodes. If you haven't already, grab a copy of my book, In Defense of Ska, available at clashbooks.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's at In Defense of Ska. And please consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/indefenseofska. You will get monthly bonus episodes, extended interviews and commentary per episode, and access to the In Defense of Ska Discord. In Defense of Ska would not be possible without the great team that tirelessly works on it every week. So you should go check out their other projects as well. Co-host Adam Davis has an amazing band called Omnigon. Give them a follow on Instagram and Twitter. It's simply at Omnigon. And our editor, Chris Reeves, has a phenomenal record label and podcast called Ska-punk International. For more information, go to skapunkinternational.com. And if you've ever enjoyed one of the highly specific In Defense of Ska memes floating around the interwebs, it was likely the work of The Bands I Like Only Charge $18. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And on that note, we leave you by saying, Ska now more than ever.
Hey, this is Adam. The show's over, but you're still listening. That probably means that this show, you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoy recording it. So if you want to help support, for only $5, you can join our Patreon. Right now, you'll get exclusive behind-the-scenes commentary for each episode. You'll get monthly bonus episodes of Aaron and I talking about topics that don't fit into the usual topics we discuss on the show. And you'll get access to our In Defense of Ska community Discord. Who knows, we'll probably add some other stuff down the road. And if you've already signed up for our Patreon, we thank you. Thanks so much. We hope you'll tune in again next week. Until then, Ska now more than ever.